As a pediatrician and a father of 7, I have these conversations every day. Parents are concerned about their children's healthy growth and height. So let's talk about the most important things that families and parents need to know to understand growth and height and where they can intervene and what parents can do beyond just knowing what the genetics are. So first, let's talk about what are how do you know how tall roughly your child is supposed to be? That is from the mid-parental height calculator. I will leave that up on the screen. There's one for boys and one for girls, but it is roughly the average of the parent's height plus or minus a correction factor for gender divided by 2. And a child's height usually falls within plus or minus 2 inches of that number. And that accounts for about 95% of what we expect most children's height to fall into with normal growth patterns. And so it is generally accepted based on decades of studies involving mostly twins that 80% of your height is really due to your genetic factors and 20% has to do with the environmental factors around what things that around the child's health and well-being impact the outcome or the expression of that genetic potential. So what happens at the level of your bones is that growth hormone comes out of your brain. Growth hormone acts on the liver and at the growth plate itself and produces insulin-like growth factor 1, IGF-1. IGF-1 is produced both in the growth plate and in the liver, and growth hormone itself acts directly on the growth. Your growth plate at the end of your long bones takes up this IGF-1. These are the cells in your growth plate that use both IGF-1 and growth hormone to increase cell number, size, and the bony matrix that holds it all together, and that produces longer bones. That process that we just described is the process that is mostly driven by genetics, and where the environmental factors impact it are the quality of nutrition and diet, quality of sleep, the activity level. Active kids grow more than sedentary kids, and the general health and well-being, lack of chronic diseases and emotional distress. So parents introduced me to True Height because many families were bringing this to the office and saying, my kids love it. It seems to be what we're looking for. And when I started looking into it, I found that the ingredients were sourced in the United States. They were clean. They were well tolerated. They hit all of the major elements of macro and micronutrients like clean protein, vitamin D, calcium, and kids wanted to take it because they know what it's for. They were engaged in the process. True Height really checks all those boxes for what my families are looking for, and I wanted to make sure everybody knows about it.